Hello, it's Dave Ruff here from Ruff Team Realty. We're coming here today live in Toronto. This is the 5th time that we've done it in about a week. We are fortunately that we had 700,000 people come on our first month and 12,000 people came on our live. So what we're going to be talking about today is about all things real estate, how to buy properties, sell properties, when we're going to deal with multiplexes, if it's off-market properties, how we're going to make offers, stuff like that. So since there isn't very many people who came on live, we're going to be able to answer all of your questions one-on-one. If you have anything that you're interested in on how to buy properties, sell properties, that's what we're here to do. We're here to look at multiplexes, commercial properties, restaurants, anything like that. Financial literacy, financial education is the key here. So we're looking at building ways and building your portfolio so you're going to not have to work till you're 70 years old. That's our main goal, right? Is how to get that financial freedom and how to move forward. Today we're going to be talking about how to find the right realtors, how to find the right mortgage agents, how to get the best deals and find the best homes, and how to interpret the numbers really and how to figure all that out. So if you have any questions before we get started, we can talk about all of those things that may come up with you in a regular day-to-day. Are any of you looking at buying and selling any properties? Are you guys looking at possibly getting it into commercial properties, your own properties? What kind of stuff are you thinking about? Because we're going to get to all of them. If there's any questions you want to ask to right now, then we'll go through all the questions you have right now, and then I'm going to go into the information. If at any time you have any questions that you want answered, I'll stop and I'll try to get through them. If we're going to go through the presentation, I'm going to mention it several times through the live because a lot of people come on and off. As we go through, I'm also going to go through the main points several times, and at the end I'm going to make sure that I got everyone's different questions. So this is for Thamer88. You said, what is the best way to start? Best way to start is being on this type of show, man. You got to figure out, first of all, how to get moving. So let's start then. The first thing you got to do is get a good realtor. How do you get a good realtor? You're going to find people that are actually working in the business a lot, okay? So in Toronto, where we are, there's like 70,000 agents. But of those 70,000, only like 5 to 10,000 actually work in this business all the time. Everybody else is this, soccer mom who actually has kids, or it's your third job or something like that. So you got to interview a lot of different realtors. Remember, this is free, doesn't cost you anything. So get a really good realtor. Now you got to build a team. It's like building that really good football team, right? Have a good realtor. Then you're going to go and look for the good mortgage agent. Once you get a good mortgage agent, he can work with you. So the key focus when you're going to look for a realtor is you're going to want to know with him, how can he find off-market properties? So that's something that we do, is we're going to try and find distressed properties, bankruptcies. We're going to look for all of those things that are not going to appear online right away. So those homes like bankruptcies and distressed sales and company-owned properties, that's what you're looking for. So ask about those questions when you talk to a realtor. How much access does he have to those properties? Okay, number 2, when we're going to talk to a mortgage broker, you want to ask him, how many lenders do you have? I'm speaking from Toronto, but the main thing is 20% of our viewers are in the United States and another 12% are in Europe. So this is the same no matter where you go. Find out exactly how many lenders they have. So the lenders that we have, about 35 different lenders, and we want to make sure that you have the most, because once we get the most and get them to play each other off of each other, we're going to get more money, right? We're going to pay less interest, which is the name of the game. So you're building this team together to try to figure out how you're going to move forward. So this is for Thamer on how to move things forward. Thanks, but you're kicking off a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about. So I made notes to myself, so I'm going to be glancing at them, making sure I don't miss anything. So you need to build a team. Now you need to find those deals. So once you have these deals that you're going to be looking at, the bankruptcies, the distressed sales, the company-owned properties, and the coming soons, and we just did one where they were divorcing, and they didn't want to put it on the market and make a big splash. So once you have that stuff and you can look at it, what does it all really come down to? Because looking at data is very different from now transferring that into knowledge. How do I interpret that data? And then the wisdom part is, how do I use that knowledge to be tactical about myself and make more money with this information? So We need to be able to have that wisdom. Very, very important, right? So I'm going to teach you how to use Zillow, House Sigma, Zillow, those type of websites that are available to you. Because for myself, we have different programs that we pay tens of thousands of dollars to create and to maintain, and we have to use those. But how do you do it if you're just a member of the public and you don't have access to all those fancy tools that I do? So what you would do is go to Zillow or Zillow, and they'll have an estimate of how much that property is worth. Then you're going to go to House Sigma and see what their estimate is of what that property is worth. Now, this is for somebody who is like you, who's going to be going out there and is looking at figuring out what the value of the home is. The number one skill that you can get to make you more money is how to make a better pricing strategy, how to figure out what that property is going to be worth, okay? So you're going to find the averages between these different websites, Zillow or Zillow or House Sigma. It's going to give you your average. With that average, remember, that's just the average 3-bedroom home in your area. It doesn't know if it's a corner lot or if it's near a nice school or if it's right next to a subway or restaurant or transit. That's the things that you really want. You want to find out, where is this cheap insurance? Where are all these properties that people are still looking for? So learning how to price it's going to help you. Where you're also going to need to be sharp on is figuring out how much it costs to renovate something. So here where I am in Toronto, we use Canadian dollars. So we're going to be looking at a kitchen. I know that a full kitchen is 25 grand. A kitchenette in the basement is 10 grand. How much is flooring? I've been to Home Depot. You know, it's $3 a square foot, $4 a square foot. For most of the builder flooring that they're putting in, it's $1 to put it in and $1 to remove it. So we're thinking $6 a square foot here, right? For wood, a floor, 6,000 square feet, 6 grand. It's just you have to be able to be very well versed on figuring this out. Now, we never leave any one of you to the sharks to figure it out on your own, but I've done this thousands of times. But if you follow this and you have that conviction and you know that you are going to be on the right path of being able to price it, you're going to be miles ahead of the competition. I mean, many, many miles. Okay, so you need to have your realtor. You need to find your mortgage agent. This is the building of your team. You're going to be looking for the off-market properties, so the bankruptcies and the distressed sales and company-owned properties and the coming soons. Then you're going to have to figure out, by using Zillow, House Sigma, and Zillow, how to price the property. So the price of the property is going to be the average cost of the property, average cost. Then you're going to have to start building lot premium. So is the lot bigger, more square footage? Is it right next to a school or on a park? That's going to have a premium. So let's give an example. We just did one today in Hamilton. So it was only one home away from a school. School, one house, one house. So that will typically bring a 4% premium to be right next to a school. People love to be next to a school and just look out the window and watch their kid walk into the class. I mean, that's amazing, right? So being right next to a school is going to be great. Figuring out, in our case, it had a double wide driveway that was installed. That adds about a $15,000 premium. They redid the floors. Like I was saying, $5 a square foot, 1,000 square feet in the house, 5 grand for the flooring. Figuring that stuff out and adding it to the average price, that's what's going to really help you figure out what that price is at the end of the day. Last thing I would say to figure out the price is, if the property has gone up 12% in a year, that means divide it by the number of months, 1% per month. So if the closest comparable that you can get is 2 months ago, and it's almost the identical home on the same street and the same everything, you have to add 1% per month to adjust for time. And then you'll have a really good idea of what it's worth. So be really careful not to overpay. In today's overheated markets, in almost all the cities, the main cities in Canada, they are all like this in multiple bidding wars. But even a small town, my aunt just went and looked at a place. It was a town of like 500 people and it went 100 grand over asking. So even in small towns, so you have to be really careful not to overpay, okay? Very, very important. Another question that you have to ask yourself, am I willing to renovate? Because if you're going to be renovating your house, this is really good. It opens a lot of doors, but today everybody wants turnkey. I want to walk in, turn the key. I don't want to do nothing. I've had people turn away from homes just because they don't even want to change one bathroom. So if you're willing to do it, you're going to have a lot more options, a lot. So if you have a lot more options, then you can find a really good contractor. So your contractor has to be dependable and giving you hours of pre-COVID hours. So my painter was $25 an hour before COVID and he's $70 now. It's not worth painting right now for 70 bucks an hour. It's just not. But if he's willing to charge you amount of money that was the same as before COVID, then it's worth it. Same that it goes for the lumber or the materials that you're going to be using. If you can get them at a good price, close to what it was pre-COVID, then it's going to be worth it. A 2x4 before COVID was $3. I've seen it right now for like $9. So it's not worth you paying that extra premium. So really controlling the costs will depend if it's going to be worth it for you to do the renovation or not. But I think it's very worth it. So you're really going to have to be watching the prices of what's coming up because we want you to get a deal, right? The last step really is going to be how are we going to manage our strategies? So the strategies when it comes to making an offer. So if we're going to make an offer, how do we do that? So many of the properties that are below $750,000 are going to multiple offers, meaning 10 offers, 15 offers. I mean a lot. We had one at 31 offers. So figure out the areas. In Toronto, very common for downtown to be $100,000 under what they're expecting to get. In the suburbs, very common to have $50,000 below what they expect to get. Very, very common. So you have to try and figure this out, but it's not as easy as saying my budget is $750, so I can only look at homes that are $700 and up, $700 and not above because they expect 50 more. A lot of people don't do that, and they will be asking $750 because that's what they expect to get. And I wish it was that way all the time, but life isn't that easy. So figuring out your strategy of how to price it, how to offer on it, and if there does come up an auction date, which is what in Canada we call an offer date, means they're going to get all of these offers in one shot, you have to know the price that you're willing to pay going in. And whether or not you've already had an inspection has to have a play in that. You can't have conditions going into an auction. I can't make it conditional on financing or something like that because it's never going to pass. So we have to have all our ducks in a row before we're going in there. We're going to make that offer, but did you know you have the legal right to put in a bully bid? So a bully bid is when they're going to ask for an auction or an offer date in 10 days from now, you have the legal right to tell your realtor, I want to put in an offer now. And he has to do that. And the realtor must present it to the other realtor. That other realtor must present it to the owners. It's a legal requirement. So even though they asked for it to be delayed by a week, you can force their hand. And so you have to make that offer really good so that they're not willing to go to auction and they're willing to accept your offer. And bully bids are typically very short windows, sometimes 6 hours, 8 hours that they have to make up their mind to accept the offer, or else we're going to auction. The offer date. So that's what an offer date means. So you need to have some strategies on how you're going to, if you're going to do a bully bid or not, and what prices you're going to start with. So today the question was, should I offer 700 or 710? So you want a 7 first, big psychological barrier, right? I would offer 700 first and then move up to 710 if you have to. But if the question was, should I offer 690 or 700, I would say be putting in 700 because they need to see that 7 before their number. A lot of people, that is the comments that they tell me when I'm selling their property. I don't care what it is as long as it starts with a 7 or it starts with a whatever. So that's the basic rundown of what you should be looking for if you're going to be looking at it for an investment. So this was for Thamer. I hope this is a good way of how to start. I'm willing to take some questions too, and I'm going to get into some more of the details a little bit later. This is to Red Hood. You said that you're glad there's only a few people here. Yeah, this is going to be great because I'm going to be able to get to all of your questions. So hopefully it's going to be okay. Jared, you sent me a present. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. That means that you appreciate our content and you see that there's value in what we're trying to do here. We're trying to educate people for financial literacy, financial freedom, and that comes with a whole bunch of stuff on how to invest, how to set up your corporations through different, in the States, LLCs. In Canada, you can have PRECs and incorporated businesses where you're going to pay small business tax, so only 12%, instead of having to pay 50%. So it's all these strategies and then building your real estate portfolio where you can properly leverage yourself and manage your risk. So Jared, I really appreciate that present. Thanks so much, man. Let's go on. We have a bunch of trolls who have come by today, leaving all kinds of weird comments, saying some weird stuff about me, saying I'm a scam. I'm actually a broker in Toronto. We have an entire team that works for us, and we're not selling anything. Like I was saying before, a huge chunk of our audience is in the United States and in Europe. So we're just trying to teach and educate you so that you're more free. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what city you would parachute me into. You can choose the place. It doesn't really matter. When we're talking about how to build your team, buying near hard assets, meaning like subways, grocery stores, the waterfront, places that are never going to change, that is our cheap insurance. That's how you're going to preserve your wealth long term. So we don't buy the trend. We don't buy the fads. We're going to buy something that makes a lot of sense and has a lot of security in the future, right? That's what we're aiming for. That's how you're going to make more money. My thoughts about Bitcoin and Ripple and why Ripple moves with Bitcoin. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I could just talk to you about what I do. I have Ripple and I have Bitcoin, so I have both. This is for Omran. I have both, and generally they all lead. So it's very similar when we look at precious metals like gold and silver and platinum and stuff. They all kind of move together in cycles. So why they all move in cycles is because it's a direct relationship usually with the stock market and the sentiment with that. So generally speaking, outside of a COVID year, when the market does well, then crypto doesn't do as well and neither does gold or bullion. But when there's danger and fear in the market, then crypto becomes more attractive and so does precious metals. So that's why they always say in your portfolio, you should have about 1% crypto of your total amount. And you should have, for bullion, 10% around. Some people fluctuate even up to 20%. But 10 to 20%, something like that, of bullion in your portfolio would be smart. Gold and silver is what I stick with, and I don't buy any minted coins. I buy rounds or bars. I hope that helps, but I own Bitcoin and Ripple, so I have both. You suggest not giving any trolls attention. That's what I try to do. You know, we're getting hundreds of thousands. So we just started 28 days ago, and something like that on all of our platforms. I've done my whole life just doing referrals. And when we went on to all of these things, we got over 750,000 views in our first month, which is phenomenal. 12,000 people just like you came to our shows to learn and ask questions. And so it's phenomenal. There's a huge demand for this, that people are looking for answers. The majority of our audience is in Canada, is in Toronto. But I mean, the rules that we place are good everywhere. So we really hope that you like this. Please subscribe to us and don't miss any of our posts that we put out. We try to teach every single day, and let your friends know if there's anything that we can do. Can I get into the pros and cons of incorporating? So this is for the captain. I like your name, by the way. So the pros and cons to incorporating is just cost, basically. I wouldn't even think about incorporating unless you're crossing $100,000 in money that you are making per year. That's kind of like where it makes sense or not. The second question you have to ask if you're going to incorporate yourself is, do I need that cash to live my life? So if you are going to make $100,000 cash and pay up to 50% tax, you want it in an incorporation, you're only paying 12%, right? But if you put it all in your corporation, have to bleed that money off and use it to pay your rent and buy food and whatever else, it's never going to work. As soon as you pull it out of the corporation into your own name, you have to pay your 50% tax again. Only the money that you intend to invest long term should be staying in your incorporation. So how the rich people win, how the rich people get very rich by using their incorporation, is they have very little expenses in their personal name. Very little, okay? And then they leave all the money in the incorporation. They don't take any of it out. That way they're hardly paying any tax. Small business tax is only 12%. But then they have so many write-offs within the incorporation. They're writing off part of their housing. They're writing off their car, their gas, their insurance, their cell phone, their computer, their internet. And so they have so many write-offs that they're going to be paying almost nothing in their incorporation. Almost zero tax. And the government is encouraging you to do that because you're making more jobs in the economy by doing that. So what you need to do is figure out how much money you're going to spend in your real life, how much is the minimum that you need if a corporation is going to do all of these payments as the write-offs. And then you have to know that you're going to leave all that money in the incorporation. So when you're going to set up a corporation, it is expensive, okay? So we're talking $2,000 to $5,000 to set up an incorporation, to do it right. When you're going to set up an incorporation, you have to sell some of your assets. So you're going to be selling your business, selling your car into the company name. And now you are no longer a business owner. You now are an employee of the business. So, I mean, the cost to set it up is there. Also, you have a big cost that you have to assume when you're going to have accounting. So before that, as a sole proprietor, it may cost you $50 a year to get and do your own taxes with some software. So the legal fees are going to go way up when it comes to the accounting and stuff. So about $5,500 maybe now in accounting fees that you're going to have to pay. There's a lot more rules that we have to follow about that. So, you know, in my case, it's usually around $8,000 a year or something in accounting that we have to pay. So there's a lot of extra costs that come in once you have a corporation. So that is the biggest fear when you come into corporations. Rachel, you said, hi, man. Hope that you're doing well. Is it difficult to get an investment property through a corporation or private? So either way, before your corporation shows enough money coming into it, you're going to have to be signing for it personally anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So if your corporation has only been around for a year or two, you're signing for it on your own name. But when you have an incorporation, you've given it its own kind of identity. So when you have your own kind of identity and how much money it's making and how much is in the bank, they can now lend you some money based on your corporation and what it's doing. Does that make any sense? This is to King, his name is. So your corporation can have a property within it, and that's what you should be doing, is having your corporation have a holdings company and put it in there. I just have to remind everybody though, I am not a financial advisor, I'm not a legal lawyer, I am not an accountant. I can just talk to you about what I do personally. I'm not counseling you on this. I am not your fiduciary. What I am is a broker in real estate who has a company in Toronto. We have an entire team that works here. And so what we do is try to tell you what I do on the side, but also to teach you about buying and selling properties and how that can lead to down the road of financial freedom. But I can tell you what it's doing about my situation when it comes to the corporate and so forth. You can, but you need some runway. You need to have proved how much money the company is making. Andrew Samoa, buddy, this guy has been on here on every single live that we've done, buddy. Thanks for coming by. He's taught me a lot. He was defending me against some kind of like messed up trolls. He's been on here like every single live that we've done this week. We've now had 12,000 people come this week to our lives, which is absolutely phenomenal, which shows you that the demand is huge for financial literacy. Right now with this money printing that's going on with the government, it's so scary what could happen to your livelihood. And more people are taking this time at home to think about their financial education and how to expand it to be more free. How long will I be live for? I'm planning to do it today for about an hour and a half. That's how long I'm going to do. But once we did a live, there were so many questions. I stayed on here for 3.5 hours answering questions. So really want to be able to answer all of them. You'll be able to hop on later. I'll be here. So if you want to come on, I'll be here. Am I the president? I don't know, president of what? President of my house, maybe in my company, but not of anything significant. All right, so I am a broker. So yes, the difference between a broker and a salesman, so if you ever wanted to know the difference, it could be at different jurisdictions and they mean different things. But when you first come into real estate, you're going to become a real estate agent. So a broker is just one that has the right to have an entire team below him, more cost, more education, higher designation. That's what a broker really means. Thank you very much. Can you use a gift or loan from family towards down payments? Yes, you can. This is for Toronto Life. Thanks very much for the question. You can use that money towards it. But remember, whenever we're going to get a loan, either through your corporation or your personal self, when we're going to be doing that, we are going to be making sure that we're looking at the entire picture. What they're going to do when they look at the loan is your total assets versus what your asked total liabilities will be. How much money you want to borrow is going to be based on all of your salaries and how much income you have coming in and how much assets you have. So if there's gift money sitting there, or there was loan money from your parents, you might have to provide a letter saying that this money came from my parents and it was a gift. And with that, you could get more borrowing. So remember, debt is a bad thing if you're buying like very expensive clothing and cars and houses and so forth. But debt is a great thing when you're buying income producing properties and money, because that is where you're going to make money. All the rich are making money through debt. So you need to use the debt very, very well. Right now, lowest interest rates in 5,000 years. 5,000 years, guys. Lowest interest rates in 5,000 years. Where were you? So we have to really be taking advantage of this right now, right? This is for King again. He's saying, does passive income... If it is passive income, can a corp still only pay 12% tax? Okay, now we're kind of getting into the nitty gritty here of the line here, because I am not a corporate lawyer. I am not a accountant. So I can't tell you. I'm not counseling you on what to do that. We have to make that distinction. I'm a broker in real estate, but I can tell you in our real estate corporations, there is passive income going in. Yes, there's going to be different treatments to it, to taxes back and forth, but this is all part of building a really good team, having a very good realtor, good broker, good lawyer, and a good accountant. And guess how I found all of mine? Asking all my friends, all my contacts in business, do you have a guy? Do you have a guy? Do you have a guy? And then interviewing them. I didn't just find my first accountant. I interviewed like 10 people a year for years before I landed on the accounting that I have. So you really have to go through a lot of that. But the best way is to find somebody who's actually using somebody who's good, because that's how I find my guy. Is I asked one of the best guys I know in real estate, who are you using? And he gave it to me. So find a mentor. I think that's what you should be doing. So remember, this entire live was for you to be doing well in real estate. And how do we do that? We need to find really good investment properties. So this is for investors. How do you do that? Number one, interview a lot of realtors, and we want to focus in on off-market properties. Number two, we want to find a good mortgage agent. And that mortgage agent, we have to find out how many off-market properties that we can have for the agent, and how many lenders we're going to have for the mortgage broker. You need to start building this team. Find out all the bankruptcies and company-owned properties and distress sales that you can. We also have to then figure out how we can use Zillow, House Sigma, and Zillow to be able to price the properties properly, right? So that's where you take the average prices and add your premiums. Does it have an extra kitchen? It's another $25,000. Does it have a pie-shaped lot? That's an extra $40,000, so on and so forth. So that's what I would be looking at, and then figure out if you're going to need a contractor, and then interview a lot of those guys, and then figuring out your offer strategies. So your offer strategies are going to be how you're going to deal with multiple representations, if that's a thing, if the realtor is dealing with both sides, if there's going to be a large bidding date, offer date, where you got to go into competition. It's happening in everywhere, every big and small city. Multiple offers, sometimes up to 30. So we have to be very careful and have a strategy about how to do that. And then if you could do that, figure out if you want to exercise your right for a bully bid, which is forcing that offer into their hands beforehand. I think that would be a really smart way to do it. So we're still talking about real estate and ways to find deals for investors. I'm going to keep on going through your list. This is for Jonathan. You said you work in South Florida. Let's set up a referral network. Hey, buddy, you're a real estate broker. That's very cool. Yeah, we've done work in Florida before. So love to. You can reach out to us, DM us at Ruff Team Realty anytime, or you can contact us through our website. So is real estate any different from Western Europe cities? Not really. This is for Red Hood. It's not really. So I have family in Switzerland. I have family in the Netherlands. I also have family. My family comes from Germany and from Ukraine. But when we go over there, a lot of the rules are going to be the same as it is here, as far as finding how to find a good realtor, how to find a good mortgage agent, how to find a good realtor, a lot of referrals, a lot of interviews. When we say buying a property, you got to find a property at a good deal. Doesn't matter where you're from. Buying a property near hard assets, buy the water, buy a concert hall, buy a sports stadium, buy a university, buy a subway, something like that that's not going anywhere, a really nice view over a valley or something. The things that aren't going to move. So there's a lot of areas in Toronto, and the same as when I've been traveling in London or Paris, and they're like, oh, it's the artists' quarter. Well, that may go away in time. What other things is there in that area that's not just cool today, but it's going to give value long term? If you're right next to a school, 4% premium. If you're right next to a subway station, 5% premium. And it's like that over all of time. So buy near the things that never change. So it doesn't really matter if you are in what country, it doesn't really matter. Buy near hard assets. Hard assets. Remember that, because that's going to make you a lot of money in the future in any European place that you are as well. Thank you very much for all the comments. Jonathan, you said you got to go. Thanks for stopping by. You know, you're one of 12,000 people that came by this week just to ask questions, so I'm glad there's a lot of demand. Where is the best place in and around the GTA for investment properties for cash flow positive? So, you know, there's a lot of people on TikTok that really preach this cash flow positive, but they don't pay attention to how much the property is appreciating. So remember, the more that the property is cash flow positive, the less appreciation is on a property. So we have properties that can make 10% per month. That is cash flow positive, but the properties haven't gone up in value in 5, 6, 7 years. But then other properties, like we just did a property today in Hamilton, it's up 19.2% this year. 19.2. Are you hearing that? 19.2. All 3-bedroom homes, the average is 19.2% up in Hamilton. And the cash flow rate on those properties is only 3%. So some people are very hung up on this cash flow business because that's very popular on TikTok and it's being preached everywhere. Well, I need to make 10%. Well, you might only make 10% there, but make only 1% on your appreciation of your property, 11 total. But if you bought in a place like Hamilton that went up 19% in a year and you still made your 3 or 4% when it comes to the monthly rent ratio, now I made 24%. So where would you rather be? Do you want to be in 11% per year or 24% per year? I mean, that's your call, right? So that's why it's not always smart and wise to only be focusing on cash flow. Cash flow is only the more, and does everyone know what cash flow means? If the rent is coming in at $1,000, but I got to pay $800 a month out in mortgages, so I have $200 left over, and that's my cash flow. So people get really hung up on that, and we have to go into more depth when we're talking about that. So you have to make sure that within your budget, you have your property management, which could be anywhere from 6 to 12%, depending on how many homes you have. So you need property management in there, and you also have to keep some money aside for repairs, things that might be breaking or going wrong in your place. You need to be having a reserve fund for that. So once you've done that, then you can see if you're cash flow positive. So don't get mixed up with all these gurus online that keep talking about all that cash flow. I mean, everyone's talking about that. But you don't just make money from the extra cash that is coming in over the month. You make a lot of money on these properties, like the one I just mentioned in Hamilton today, 19.2%. That property you could have bought last year for like $550,000 and it's $700,000 this year. So you would have made $150,000 just by buying the right property. So you need to have properties in really high cash flow areas. So that could be in places like Alberta. It can be even in Ontario if we're looking in places like Guelph, St. Catharines, Niagara Falls, Kitchener, even smaller towns if you're looking in Hawkesbury, Cornwall. High cash flow, but hardly any appreciation. Then you need to have a couple doors in other cities that have high appreciation and not very much cash flow. You need to really balance it out. Remember, when you're looking to build a portfolio, the race is on to get to 10 doors. 10 doors, okay? Because if one person doesn't pay you, the other 9 will continue to pay. You don't want to have a huge unit and that one guy doesn't pay you and then you're wiped out. So the race is to get to 10 doors. It doesn't matter what market you're in. I don't care if you're downtown Toronto or in your little hick town, you need to try to get to 10 doors. That's where you're going to really build that security, that insurance for yourself, okay? So get to a lot of doors. That's what I would be doing. I hope that was helpful to you. What is my opinion on private lenders? How do you pay them back if the bank won't lend you any money to refi? Okay, so I mean, when we go to private lenders, which there's a lot of private lenders out there. So I'm thinking of one of these accounting firms that I know that just branched off a couple months ago, and they have an entire pool of private lenders. So you have to figure out whatever payments that you're going to go with them. They're going to create with their lawyers their own type of contracts, their own kind of deals, and their own type of payment structures and what interest rates you're going to be paying for them. So a lot of the times, the people who are getting into flips or the Burr method. Does everyone know what Burr is? B-R-R-R. So you're going to buy a property, you're going to go in there and renovate it, do a lot of renovations. Then after that, you're going to rent it out after it's been renovated, and then you're going to refinance the property. So you're going to buy a property for $1 million, then you're going to put $200,000 into it. So now you're in 1.2, and the property is assessed at 1.5 now. So you did a really good job of how you use those upgrades. Then the bank will lend you 80% of the 1.5, which will be covering that 1.2. So once that's the refinance, so now the bank is essentially lending you the full amount that came out of your pocket, 1.2. You have an extra $300,000 of which you're going to pay back your private lender, and you're going to use the rest of the cash to go buy another house and repeat, which is the last R in the Burr method. So I do like private lenders. Private lenders charge more interest, but you have to be very sure what you're doing and not get in trouble. I mean, if this is your first Burr method that you're going to be using, or their first first flip that you're going to do, be careful with it and be very smart with every single deal. It's so easy for the people in the Burr method and flippers to go over their budget and really lose a lot of money. So just be very careful. And you're going to have the terms all set out with their lawyers. So thank you for that. Can I talk about more cash flow without money to start with? This is for Red Hood. You want more cash flow without money to start with? It's not very possible, to be honest with you, for you to have cash flow if you have no money to start with in housing. But here's one idea that I've seen worked, is if you have zero cash, and I mean zero, you can try to go to a guy who has a deal and they have something called a seller take-back mortgage. So say that I was a guy that had a property and I had it up for sale, and you came to me and said, hey, I see that your property is for sale. I want to buy it, but I don't have any money. So what he's going to do, what I would do here as the seller, is I would talk to you, interview with you, see what you're all about. You're going to give me your credit information, and basically now you are going to be paying my mortgage off, but we're going to have a whole bunch of lawyer paperwork that says the property is now yours. You're responsible to be paying the mortgage, and essentially I, as the seller, am giving you the mortgage. I'm backing it instead of the bank giving it to you. Maybe I have 100 properties, and maybe I don't really care about the money. I just want to get this property off my plate for whatever reason. So you can do that. Seller take-back mortgages is possible. It happens often. So you're just going to have to prove to him with your hustle, your online presence, your businesses that you're running, or whatever else to get that extra money for a seller take-back mortgage. That's very important. So we're talking about all those things, right? About how you're going to find these properties. This is for investors today specifically. Do you guys have any other questions for me when it comes to how to do these type of things? What I would be doing is, this is for Red Hood, focusing on where you can make more money. Get online, open up a business online, hustle outside. When I was young, I was shoveling driveways in the morning and in the summer cutting lawns every weekend, evening, like hustle. You need some cash to get some more cash flow flowing, Are any of you thinking of buying any properties these days? Are you looking at buying multiplexes, cash flowing properties, or properties at a good deal that have massive upswings? So right now, I like to buy properties that are on sale. In downtown Toronto, the one bedrooms and the one in dens are down up to 25% off. I love deals, man. 25% off on a pair of jeans gets me excited. Can you imagine 25% off on an entire condo, on a home? I mean, that's incredible, right? So I would be looking at the markets that are beaten up right now, not the markets that are on fire. That's where you're going to find the best deals. So this is for Maximus. To get to 10 doors with $100,000 available in cash, what would be your strategy? I'd be buying your primary home. Okay, this is very good at question, Maximus. Amazing question. Yeah, be buying your first property with 5% down, only 5% down. Variable rate, push it as long into the future as you can. And then you're going to be taking that house and house hacking yourself, renting out the basement, making sure that there's a renter in the basement with 1 or 2 units in the basement, renting it out. And you know where the really smart guys are is where they're living in the basement and renting out the whole top floor and renting out another room. We're trying to generate cash flow fast. Then you're going to go buy a very smart, you're going to build your team with a good realtor. You're going to have him be finding these off-market properties, a very good mortgage agent who's going to be working with you to get you the best rates and finding distress trails and bankruptcies and off-market properties. You're going to get that property and you're going to buy it with only 20% down, which is the minimum. You're going to buy that property and house hack that home. Unit on the upstairs, maybe 1 or 2 units downstairs, and rent them all out. And you're going to do some minor things to it. Maybe change the carpet, maybe do a paint up, maybe just update the appliances a little bit to try to get more money out of it. And that's where a good realtor will help you and how to get more money out of that place. You're really trying to wring all the cash out of that property you can. And then what you're going to try to do is, as every year goes by and these properties go up, you're going to try and pull cash out of those properties, all of the appreciation, to be able to buy more properties. And so your accountant will work with you, right? And you're going to look at your total assets versus your total liabilities. And you should always be sitting around that 20 to 25% in your entire portfolio of assets that you own. But always make sure that you're using all of that available credit to you to make more money with. And that's how you're going to speed your way. So if you bought that house, 1 unit on the upstairs, you're living 1 in the basement, so you're renting out another bedroom in the basement, there's 2 doors. You go buy another house, you have 1 upstairs, 2 in the basement. Now I have 3 more doors. You're already at 5, and that can happen within like 6 months. You'll be halfway there in 6 months. So I've seen people get to their 10 doors in a year, no problem. So it's really about having a good team, but doing that is going to be massive, because imagine that these properties are going to be making you thousands of dollars a month each. I mean, in Toronto, homes are going up $2,000 a week, every week. So what happens if you had 5 properties? I mean, you're going up $10,000 a week just by owning a bunch. You're not even doing anything. That's not even including the rent that you're bringing in. So that's what I would be doing. So for $100,000, that's what I would be doing. Maximus, I don't know if you're in Toronto. I'm actually curious where you are, but it doesn't really matter where you're from because those strategies are going to work anywhere you go. So guys, thank you for all these questions. You make it easy for me. Please follow me, subscribe to Ruff Team Realty. Tell your friends about me. I'd really like to continue to help you guys. So your FHA loan, I don't really know what an FHA loan is. Sorry, man. I don't know what the Canadian equivalent is of that. Can you guys help me out? Does anybody know what the Canadian equivalent of an FHA loan is? Not really sure. This is for Ray. How do you do only 5% down? Can you do this with a duplex? Really depends on the type of duplex. So if it's a fully government, approved separate unit, 2 front doors on top of each other, or a semi-detached, they may not allow you to put 5% on the total. They may only allow you to put 5% on your primary residence on one side, and the other side is 20%. They may blend it. But if you're going to buy a single family home and just build another unit in the basement and rent that out, then they're going to allow you just to put 5% down on the total. And that's probably what I would suggest. Buy a single family home, detached, put a unit in the basement. That's the best plan. Thank you guys for coming by and helping you. Remember, why should we be buying? If any of you were here last week, the 4 pillars of why you should be buying right now is number 1, the Canadian government has already passed the law for NIRP, negative interest rate policy. So the rates are going to continue to go lower. That's why I say go variable right now at this point in time. Number 2, the Canadian government is talking about bringing in 2 million people within 2 years. That is insane. We have hardly any building going on right now, and they want to bring this many people. 40% of them come to Toronto alone. So where are we going to put them? So home prices are going to have this massive demand. Third, the government now has opened an option for us to co-purchase homes. So the government is now paying up to 10% of your home for you. So you have to apply for that program. But if the Canadian government is now buying homes with people, partnering with individual citizens to buy homes, do you think they want to lose money? They're going to do everything they can to keep the market up so they don't lose money. The last thing is money printing. They're printing money at such an astonishing rate. If we look at just this year, 20% of all Canadian dollars ever in existence were printed this year alone. If we look in the United States, it's at 24% of all US dollars ever created were created in the last year, which means inflation should be 24% up. But the government is holding the prices down and not allowing it to inflate, but it will come back to bite us. So housing prices, the numbers are going to go up, not necessarily your purchasing power, but the number that's going to be on the sticker price of your home is going to continue to go up. So those 4 things are huge reasons why people are investing right now and why investors are picking up those units that are beaten up, like those 1 bedrooms and 1 in dens inside of cities. We've already seen the numbers reverse in the past couple months. So we've seen a decline of prices and number of people who are renting homes. But now what's happened in the past month, we're seeing those numbers actually going up. As the COVID vaccine is coming out and people are having hope and thinking that they're going to get back to normal, now people are coming back into the cities. So that could be a really good sign for property values, right? So I would be thinking of that. This is for Simon. You said the secret to buying a property is before you get married and have kids. I know, yeah, because once you have kids and you're married, I mean, there's a lot of expenses, right? Plus, it is nice when you can both be using up your first-time buyer credits. So in Toronto, you have to pay a city tax and a provincial tax. It's a double tax when you move into the big city. So it could be huge. It could be 20 grand, right, to pay. So if you can buy one each before you're married, it can get you more of a savings. Are these rules for Canada also? So the rule, I'm actually in Toronto. I'm a broker on Bay Street in Toronto. And we work in the Greater Toronto area, so we work right up to Barrie, out to Oshawa, Hamilton, but we also do properties for people who are outside of here. So the people who are, we did one in London, we did one in Hawkesbury and Cornwall, all cities all over the place for investors who really trust us and don't want to go with other groups. So these rules are good for all of Canada, but it's also good for Europe and it's good for the United States and most places if you follow the same rules. Now, the rules when I'm talking about like my RSP, borrowing money from an RSP. So for first-time buyers, remember, we can borrow $35,000 from our RSPs and you don't pay anything for 2 years and then you have 15 years to pay it back. So that rule is going to be different in the States as to how much from their 401k can they pull out, and they have some different forms and different programs. But the general idea, there's always something that the government is offering to help you buy more houses. So I would just be asking more questions. This is for Ray. When you add value to a home, the difference is called equity. That's exactly. So equity is like if I own a home for $100,000 and I only owe $80,000, I have $20,000 of value sitting there, not my debt. So what happens if I buy a home for $100,000 and then I put $20,000 of material into it and I'm doing all the work and renovating my bedrooms and bathrooms all night and evenings, and the bank comes and tells me it's worth $150,000. Well, I only owed $100,000 before and I put $20,000 into it. You know, I have $30,000 left. And the $30,000 is yours. You do what you want with it, and we call that equity. Yeah, so it's money just sitting in it. And the bank will lend you money based on that $30,000 that's sitting on there because they said, you did a great job, we want to do it again. And they'll help you lend more money to buy another property. So, hey, buddy, I'm glad that you're new to this. I wish I was young and I was just getting into this, because if I was doing this when I was 20 years old, I wouldn't be working now. It took me so long to figure all this stuff out, man. I wish I had a mentor years ago. But you know, I thought I would be able to do it on my own. Twice in my life, I worked as somebody. I offered my time for free. And once I worked for like 8 months for free, doing everything for them and just keeping my ear open and listening. And I wish I had done that when I was 20, because I would have been so much farther ahead. I mean, millions of dollars difference. So I'm really glad you're getting into this. There's never a dumb question. There's never as too simple of a question. And you said that you're from Toronto. Very cool, man. If you ever want to contact us, you know, we do free consultations. It doesn't cost you anything. When I'm telling you, find a good realtor, find a good mortgage agent, find a good contractor, find a good lawyer. You can interview all these guys for free. For free. So interview them, talk to them, ask questions. And guess what? When you're going to be buying a property, you don't pay for a realtor anyway. And when you're buying a property, you don't pay for any mortgage broker's fees. It's all free. So use them. Like, build your team and use these guys, Ray. I'm happy for you. This is great. Good for you for getting into this. This is Louis. Why are we buying when the market is way high? So this is what I was saying. This is a good idea, right? People mention this. Is the market high? Well, the properties up in Muskoka and Kawartha are up 44% on the year. 44% is huge. But there's properties in Toronto that are down 25%. So what do you mean a property is the properties are high? You got to be more specific than that, right? There's deals to be had, and so you have to look for the deals. Build your team to be able to find these deals consistently, and you will make millions from that. That's how you're going to get freedom. Find good deals, and there are deals that are out there. So is the market high? I guess your question is, will the market go higher? Which goes back to what I was saying before about the 4 pillars of why we are buying right now. Negative interest rates. As the negative interest rates happen and your mortgage prices go down, the prices of values go up. Look what happened in the summer. They dropped a quarter point from the Bank of Canada, and properties went up 5% in 1 month. 5% in 1 month when they dropped the interest rate. So what do you think is going to happen the next time that they're going to put a drop in the rate? It's going to bounce up again. The inflation, they're printing hundreds of billions of dollars. So as that money goes out there and more people have more cash in their pockets, they're willing to spend more. And that pushes the value of the prices up because we're devaluing the currency. Also, the government is pre-purchasing homes, right? So if they're pre-purchasing homes and buying them with other citizens, they're co-purchasing, what's going to happen? They're going to keep inflating that and keep on pushing it up. And we're not building any houses hardly at all now compared to pre-COVID. And we have millions of people moving here. Where are we going to put them? The only thing I can see is they're going to be converting a lot of the corporate space into housing. It's going to be the only way that they're going to be able to withstand that. They're going to be moving here. We have no houses, but we're going to have empty businesses all over. So I think they're going to see a massive conversion that's going to be happening as we're putting them in. Think of all the strip malls with an escalator and an elevator for old folks' homes. I mean, it's perfect for them. I think we're going to see a lot of conversion. So you think the market is high, but if we look at other major cities, and you're thinking of Hong Kong, New York, we're actually really cheap compared to them. We also, I thought, was expensive 15 years ago when I moved here. And then properties continue to skyrocket by 10 or 20% every year. And there's a lot of market movements that's happening right now. So I don't necessarily think it is high if we're looking at the big picture. So what do I always say? Focus on. I don't care if you're Europe, you're the States, Canada, focus on finding the deals. Because there are deals that are out there, like I was mentioning, 25% off in some properties. Those are the properties that interest me. I want to be buying a car at a deal, my clothes at a deal. I want to be buying everything at a deal, especially on those big units, right? Why would you be driving around town for celery for half price when you could be buying a home for way less and saving hundreds of thousands of dollars? Like, that's what interests me. Toronto has the homeless in hotels, and you can get auto direct deposits. This is for Ray. So I have heard of that program. Yeah, they are putting people in hotels, and you can get auto direct deposit for the renters. Yeah, I mean, like 80% of our renters pay by direct deposit or email money transfers. So I mean, yeah, the days of us handing over checks is long gone. Like hardly anyone does this. This goes for Ice Cream Man. Will a private lender give development funding if one needs $750,000? In which he can make 1.2% on the project? Probably not. That doesn't sound like a very good ratio. If I was going to make 1.2% on the project, that wouldn't be very good. Yeah, are you saying 1.2 million is how much he can make on a $750,000 investment? If he can make 1.2 million on the $750,000 investment, that's worth it for him. So then he's just going to have to evaluate risk, which is you. Like, what is your track record? Have you done this before? Why do you think you're going to be successful at it? And what backing do you have? What contractors you have? And so on and so forth. So that's what I would be looking for. This is for Ray. You said you didn't know about the extra 20%. So I'm assuming that 20% is on investment properties. So yes, 20% for all investment properties. But for your first one, you should be looking at your first buyer's one. and you only put 5% down when it's your primary residence, which is a huge gift that you're getting given. So that's why your primary residence, if this is your goal, shouldn't be buying a first little condo. It should be buying a single family home where you can have multiple units in the home, giving you some extra cash flow. So that's what you should be aiming for if it's your first home. Plus your credits will be the largest. So that's what I would be doing. Greetings from Baku. Hey, Ukraine? So yeah, my grandfather comes from there. I told you, we got a lot of people from Europe and from the States, so thank you for coming by. We're trying to teach you things with real estate that doesn't really matter what country that you're in. These rules, and we call them money mechanics, apply in any country that you're in, on how to find deals, getting a good team together, and how to structure it into a corporation instead of having it in your name. This is for Simon. You're saying that interest rates are lowered, bigger buyer demand. Yeah, for sure. So as interest rates go down, prices go up, and the reverse. So if interest rates go up, the prices come down. I mean, there's a direct relationship between that, right? Because most people pay money based on, buy homes based on payment, not on the totals at the end of the day. They're like, yeah, whatever. What is my payment per month? They buy cars like that too. Just what is my total payment? So they're going to figure out how much they can pay. But if there's no interest, they can use the entire amount toward principal, and they're going to max themselves out. And that's how they do. But remember, when I'm talking about buying all these doors, getting to 10 doors, 20 doors, as far as a rental is concerned, I'm not wanting you to max yourself out. I don't want you to be at the line. That's where risk management is coming into play. When you're always going to be able to withstand a couple people not paying you, like come hell or high water for some reason, you have to be able to have this cushion to be able to ride it out. So don't ever max yourself out. So this is for Amir. You're saying you have a rundown home. Should you sell it or fix it up and then rent it out, or flip it after fixing? Okay, so that's a really tough question. I mean, that's $1 billion question, right? If everyone knew that. I'd be interested in knowing where you are. Are you in Toronto? Are you in Canada or the States, Europe, Ukraine? Where are you? But that is going to come into play when you have a really good realtor to help you out, because he's going to be able to go in through each area, each postal code. So what we do is we actually look within your exact postal code, every single home that has been sold in that area. You want to know absorption rates, so how many homes are not selling. You want to know the sales to asking ratio. So that is, if I'm asking $1 million for my home, how much am I going to really be getting? Am I going to get $100,000 over that? Or am I getting below what I'm asking on the market? Like what kind of area you are. And even if you're buying it for yourself, you need to know the rental demand for the area, even if you plan to live there, because we want to have that knowledge of knowing that there's huge demand for the area. So we would have to look at your individual section. So we put it through all of our programs to figure this out. It's about a 4-hour process with really expensive software, but for yourselves, go through all of the online accessories that you have. Maybe it's going to be Zillow or Zolo or House Sigma or Zumper, PadMapper, Kijiji, any programs that have buying and selling and leasing information, figuring out, if I do it all up, how much could I rent out each unit? If I do it all up, how much is it going to cost me as a contractor? Get a very good contractor in to come and give you a quote. And your realtor will be able to help quarterback all that for you if he's a good realtor. So if you were in Toronto, I'm happy to help you out. You could reach out to us here and DM us or on any of the channels at Ruff Team Realty, and one of the team will get back to you. But if you're anywhere else, you can also contact me. And if you're in the States or Europe, I'll still we give consultations for free, and I'll try and help you out in any way that I can. I want you to be successful at this. This is for Jaden. He's saying, hey buddy, thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. We've had massive demand. The first week, 12,000 people on our lives, which is fantastic. 750,000 views on all of our channels in our first month. So it's phenomenal. How much is the normal price for a 3-bedroom condo in the GTA? That really depends. The GTA is over 100 kilometers of housing wide. So that really depends. So it's going to be anywhere from $400 to $1,200 per square foot. So I mean, that's a huge window, right? So everything here, they don't care about how many bedrooms. All they care about in most major cities is how many square feet. Square footage is king. So just to give you an idea, across the street from me is a building that has a 3-bedroom condo that is inside of 680 square feet. So each bedroom is only 6 feet by 6 feet, 2 meters by 2 meters. That's crazy, okay? One child-sized bed, one nightstand, no dresser, no closet. All your clothes have to go in the living room. Okay, my place, a 3-bedroom unit in my place is around 2,000 square feet in my building. It's triple the size. So it really, really depends. It all goes by square footage. $400 if you're way outside of Toronto and is very beat up, all the way to $1,200 for a prime building, prime amount of prime location, and an audited building. And the audits should be done by your good lawyer and by a good realtor. Hey, Alan, you're saying you're just passing through. Thank you very much. You're saying Merry Christmas. Appreciate all the sentiment. I appreciate all the love I've gotten, man. This has been incredible. I've been resistant to doing any social media for a decade. We only work with referrals, and everybody's been kind of pushing us, telling us we should be doing something. I started, and the response has been phenomenal. So we're really, really appreciative. Thank you, guys. What you should eat for dinner? I don't know, man. I'm a meat and potatoes guy. That's what I am. Thanks for having dinner with us. With interest going low, prices will rise. Yeah, that's what we were saying before. As interest rates go down, prices rise because people buy on payments, right? If the interest rate goes up, then prices will come down. But we can't see any, like the governments have been very clear, right? They're going to print as much money as they can with no stop in the future. They don't even care what the budget is. So that is a huge thing to push prices up. Huge amount of people coming to the country. Millions of people will be coming. That's going to push prices up. Negative interest rates from the Bank of Canada and the Federal Reserve in the States. They now have that legal allowance to do it. So if we look worldwide and we take Canada and the United States out of the picture, 80% of all debt on earth is in negative territory now, which is crazy. First time in 5,000 years this has ever happened, negative interest rates. And so the last bastions of positive rates, Canada, United States, we're only sitting at 0.25, but the government has already passed all the laws allowing us to go into negative territory. So if they push the rates into negative territory, your mortgages are going to go near zero. And have you seen all the new mortgages that are coming out? The new mortgages now say your mortgage can go only as low as 0.00. First time ever, 5,000 years. First time it's going to be that low. So if I was going to get a mortgage right now or refinancing my total portfolio, I'd be looking at variable rates and lock it in for as long as you can. Because the longer you push it off into the future, as inflation kicks in, you're going to be able to pay off today's debt with very, very cheap dollars in the future. Very, very cheap dollars. If you want to understand that mechanism, which is one of the biggest reasons why you're going to make a lot of cash on this, go understand online what the difference is between the devaluing of currency and what it does to the value of your property and the value of your mortgage. I think I should be doing a show just on that because it has such huge impact on your financial health and your future wealth. It's going to be massive. In the GTA, Roman, you're asking where is the best place to buy? So if you're looking for cash flowing properties, you got to move outside of Toronto, Niagara Falls, St. Catharines, over in Guelph, for example. But you should also be looking at inside of the cities, inside of properties that are very beaten up. In our case, the 1-bedrooms and the 1 dens, typically in the 650 square foot range, hopefully within 300 meters of a subway station or a metro station, they call it, depending where you're from, and preferably on a good line. So in Toronto, there's the University line is more popular than the Young line. So you want to be on one of those lines that's more popular. It's going to be cheaper insurance for you in that more people will always want that and always pay up for that. You're joining. This is for Kitty. This isn't a business meeting. Actually, I'm a broker in Toronto. We're out here to try and help financial literacy, financial education, and how to build your wealth through buying different properties and different structures, and how to build your team, how to get a good realtor, a good mortgage broker, and how to get a good contractor in to help you make more money. Whether it is you're going to flip properties or whether you're going to do the Burr Method, buy, repair it, renovate it, rent it out, refinance it, and repeat it over and over. So hopefully that this is going to help you. Single detached homes, yes, that's what we're focusing in on right now. If it was going to be your first property, for sure, I'd be focusing in on a smaller detached home just outside of Toronto or outside of a major hub where you can afford it. Hopefully you're going to be near a school, something like that, a hospital, or good transit. That's what I would be doing. Whoa, man. Somebody is very excited and he's commenting like 1,000 times. Yeah, you know what? Thanks for the questions, because you're saying I need a moderator to drown out all these trolls that are wasting my time. I'm sorry, you guys. Is it better to buy an old detach and renovate it, or rent it out and buy a fully renovated? I would be buying one. Now, this all comes down to if you have a good contractor. If you have a good contractor, that contractor is going to be able to do good work for you at a reasonable rate per hour, reasonable price for the materials, and it's going to save you a lot of money. A lot, okay? So if you have that guy, I'd be always buying the building that is not rented out. The number one thing that people are looking at now is they want all done. They call it turnkey, the perfect property. Everything is beautiful. I don't want to do anything. I don't even want to change a floor. So why would you pay that premium for the top price for that when I could get a property at a discount buying one that I'm going to have to renovate? Because I'd rather buy that and then make all that money myself rather than letting a flipper make that money. A lot of these trolls, eh? Should you incorporate before you refinance or corporate first? Okay, this is where you're going to have to talk to your lawyer and your accountant together. Remember, I'm not an accountant or a lawyer. I can only talk about myself. But if I had a lot of properties, then yes, I would be incorporating myself first. If this is just your first property, then it's not going to really matter. But there's a lot of costs when it comes to incorporating, and huge costs when it comes to the accounting. I mean, it's going to go from $500 a year to $5,500 a year just to pay for your accounting fees. So make sure that you're in a good position before you incorporate yourself. Sorry, buddy, this is for Daniel. I don't think it was a complete question. You said if you could work from, so I'm not really sure where you're talking about. The next one, if you could work from home but wanted to stay in the GTA, where would I live? That really depends on your family situation, where I would live. But typically right now, where you're going to find deals is not the inner suburbs. You're going to find deals in the city in one bedroom and one and den condos inside of Toronto. Where you're not going to be wanting to do is the inner suburbs. And this is on most big cities now. Everyone's looking for square footage, right? So they're going to move to the suburbs where you can get into the city really easy. So in Toronto's case, Mississauga, North York, Markham, Scarborough, they have been doing insanely well. So where you're going to want to move out to in Toronto is somewhere like out to Burlington, Oakville. They still haven't seen those massive surges where you could still drive into the city. But typically you're looking at around the 40-minute window outside of the major cities are where you're finding deals right now, or the condos that are right in the city. And usually the one and dens are the ones doing the best. If I was going to do it, I'd buy a one and den with 2 bathrooms within 300 meters of an audited building on a subway line. I hope that helps, Daniel. Yeah, I should mute the trolls. I don't really know how to do this. Like I said, first month on this thing, and I've only done lives this week. 12,000 people came by. I've had a lot of these punks that try to do all this stuff. Rates likely won't go to true zero. So I don't really know what you mean. So there's 2 rates always. Remember, but the Bank of Canada or the Federal Reserve in the States, they'll have their rate, and the bank borrows the money from them before they give you your mortgage rate. So the Bank of Canada is at 0.25, and they're going to give you a mortgage rate at 1.9, and the difference between that is your profit that the bank is going to make. So the country can go into negative below zero, and then your percentage for your mortgage will come down, but zero will be in the middle. So if the Bank of Canada is at 0, your mortgage rate is going to be 1%. If they're -1, you're going to be at 1. It's normally around that 1.5% to 2% spread, depending on all of your situation. So technically, the Bank of Canada could go -2, and you'd be paying 0 interest, 0. But even if you lock in what you have right now, I mean, it's the lowest interest rates we've had in 5,000 years. So amazing deal for you, right? So if you did fixed, I think it's great. But I think all the winds are shifting towards us going even lower into negative interest rates. 80% of the world is already in negative interest rates. I mean, it's coming. So if I was going to do it again, I would be going into our varied rates right now. That's what I would do. You don't know if it'll likely go to zero. I mean, nobody has that answer. No mortgage broker, no King of England, no nothing is going to be able to tell you that, because it really goes into what is the government going to do. But we do know they've already passed the laws for negative interest rate policy, allowing the government to do that. So don't refinance to a 30-year mortgage. This is for Nurse Lori. Yeah, I would be refinancing in a heartbeat if you can. Refinance your whole portfolio if you can. I'd be refinancing it for the longest mortgage possible and for a variable rate, because I think it's going to be going lower. Hope you guys write this down, mark this video, remember it, because this is going to happen. And then you're going to think back and say, man, I wish I listened to Dave. So that's what I would be doing for that one for sure. I'd be refinancing in a heartbeat. This is for full send trading. You're saying there's no crash in real estate, maybe some downtown and some big city areas. So, you know, what we're noticing is people don't want to go through all of these lockdowns in a small unit. I mean, it feels like you're in prison, right? So this is where you got to be looking for opportunity, because if you're looking at a 2-bedroom unit that hasn't gone down at all during Corona, it's making 3% a year, and you're looking at a 1-bedroom unit that's making 3% even right now, but it's dropped 25% in value. When things come back, the 2-bedroom has not moved in price, so it has no potential gain. But that 1-bedroom has a chance to gain 35%. Because if a unit drops 25 and then goes back up to where it was, you just made 35%, not dropping 25. You don't just make that 25 back. The percentage is much bigger. So you're going to buy in those things where you've managed your risk and has huge upside potential. So yeah, real estate has gone down in some markets, and in other markets are very large. So even within the same city. So you really need to have a good area, a good realtor to work with you at that time. This is to Diamond Dimito. Hey man, thanks for coming by. You currently live in Toronto. You're enrolled as a salesperson program, and you have a question. Do real estates only get paid if they sell a house, or do they receive a base pay? Tough. You get jack. If you want to be a realtor, you get nothing if you don't sell anything. And that's why it's so hard. So in Toronto, we have 70,000 agents. It's like a record. You know, the city of Chicago is about the same size. It only has 13,000 agents. And we have so many because everyone thinks money is going to fall from the ceiling. It is hard. When you first become a realtor, you are going to go through 2 years, at least maybe 3 years, if you're lucky, making McDonald's wages of $5 an hour. I mean, it's tough. But you have to be willing to give up your weekends, your evenings, your holidays. I work on Christmas, New Year's, evenings, weekends. I work all day. There is no work time and off time. I'm always working. But if you're willing to do that hustle, you're going to make it. But the numbers don't look good. The numbers are like 93% or something of realtors fail within the first 2 to 3 years. So, you know, you got to be willing to do what the other people are not. And only by doing what other people are not willing to do will you be successful. So my suggestion to you, hustle like crazy and get a mentor, and be willing even to work for free to gather up all that information. I did it for almost a year so that I could springboard myself, and it was worth it. So you get no money. Realtors have it tough, man. Everyone thinks that you make a lot of money on it. We sell properties at $1 million, and we're going to take all that commission, but it costs us so much to sell it, we've lost money on them. So it really, really depends. Just think about it. $1 million commission on $1 million home, you could make $25,000. Not really, because you got to pay your split, which could be 20, 30. You're going to pay 20, 30, 40% over to your brokerage. You're going to have to now pay $5,000 for staging of a home, $5,000 for open houses. You're going to have to pay $1,000 for all your COVID material. You're going to have to pay for all of your people who are answering all the inquiries online. So many times that we've done it and we've lost money on it. So it's not the main thing about making money on every deal. We're just trying to make sure our clients are super happy. And if you do that and service the client all the time, just make them happy. It doesn't matter if you lose money. They're going to recommend you to their friends and family, and they're going to want to do business with you again. So if you ever have any other questions for real estate, you know, you can contact me. I don't care where you are in Canada or the States. If you have questions, you can always contact me. I'm happy to take your call and help you in any way that I can. Do you pay fees to the company that hires you? Yeah, it depends on where you are. So I tell people it's $10,000 a year for my license because you have to pay a federal fee, you have to pay a provincial fee, a city fee, insurances on each of them. You have to pay a membership fee just so that you can have the usually the governing body in Ontario, it's the Real Estate Council of Ontario, they charge you. Then you have to pay a fee to the brokerage house, so it may be Royal LePage or Remax. You're gonna have to pay them once a year for the right to belong to them. And then your local brokerage house normally charges you a desk fee, and that could be anywhere up to $1,000. It's usually like $400 or something like that, up to $1,000 a month for the privilege to be with them, because they're also paying for advertising, and you have to pay for the people answering the phones and calculating all your commissions and stuff. So I mean, it's a very, very expensive business, and that's why over 90% fail at it. So just be willing to really, really hustle. I hope that helps, man. You said my tie isn't straight? Sorry, man. Hi from Ireland. Thank you for coming by. We're just teaching ways for financial education, financial literacy, and how to get you ahead. You know, it doesn't really matter what country you're in. If you follow those rules, buying your hard assets and how to focus your mind on incorporating yourself, it's good for all the countries in Europe. Same thing. You're looking at TikTok to advertise your accounting business. Cool, man. Might as well do it. I mean, we just started a month ago after me hearing about it for 5 years and me saying I don't have time for it. But we went on TikTok, first month in, 750,000 views across all the platforms, and you know, we just had to hire 4 people just to manage our social media because we have so many people contacting us now in 1 month. 750,000 views, and I had 12,000 people come by on our lives, and every time we go on live, we get a ton of people asking us questions. But if you personally have any questions, you know, email us. Even if it isn't about a house or something, I'm going to try to give you the best information that we can to help you make yourself more financially free in the future. So glad to hear you that TikTok is working for you. You know, it's working for us. We're really, really impressed by it. Thank you for that. You're interested to know why I speak? I use my hands? No, I guess I didn't learn that. I'm not Italian, but I think I just talk with my hands a lot. Sorry about that. I guess some people think that it's too much. Is it too much? I don't know. Why is gold underestimated so badly? I mean, this is historically always the way it is, guys. So whenever the stock market does well, gold goes down. Because gold isn't really to make money. Gold is a hedge, right? It's to protect your money. So if the stock market is doing well, they're like, I don't need any protection. I don't need any gold. But as soon as the stock market does poorly, Corona's in the air, we do uncertainty in the future, people are now scared and they're running to gold to guarantee their money. Does gold actually make a ton of money? You know, like back in my dad's day, it was $200 for an ounce, and now it's $2,000. But if you go back in history, 4,000 years ago, 1 ounce of gold would buy a really nice outfit and a nice pair of shoes. If you went to 1900, 1 ounce of gold would buy a very nice suit and a nice pair of shoes. Today, a very nice suit and a nice pair of shoes, a nice outfit, still costs you 1 ounce of gold. So technically, your purchasing power has never changed. In thousands of years, that gold hasn't gone up in value. Sure, it said 200 or 2,000, but it may cost you 2,000 for that nice outfit before it cost you 200 for that nice outfit. It still has the same purchasing power, even though the number is different. Does that make any sense? So gold is just a hedge. It's not necessarily to make money, but everybody should have that in your portfolio. I have 15% in gold and silver bullion in my portfolio. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not counseling you. I could just talk to you about myself because I'm a broker on Bay Street in Toronto and we deal with real estate. But I can talk to you about what I do personally. This is for Diane. You're saying you need to hustle. You can hustle. That's very, very good. You know, be willing to work evenings, weekends, everything. My phone rings all the time. I can see on my computer, you know, we've already had like 75 to 100 emails come in just since I've been on this. I can see all the messages on my phone and phone calls missed. Like I'm taking calls in the night, in the morning, constantly. So if you're willing to do that hustle, you'll do good. Look for a good mentor. And my suggestion for you, I'm sorry, I don't remember if you had told me, Diane, where you are. Wherever you are, find a mentor. Find someone who's really good in that field. And listen, unfortunately, I get a lot of mentors that ask to come work and mentor for me. but all of these people want to come in and work for 1 or 2 months, and they're like, I want, David, you to dedicate your time and just teach me and sit down at a table. But you're never going to get somebody who's successful to be able to do that. What you're going to have to do is find somebody who's very good in the market, and like what I did for 8 months, you're going to have to just say, I'll do anything for you. I was getting coffee. I was answering his emails. I wasn't always with him, but I was always paying attention, ears open, how things are moving, how people are talking, their intonation, their pausing, when they're going to go do showings. All of these tricks, you're just picking up all this knowledge. It's going to help you a lot. So you have to be able to bring something to the table to them and say, you need me as this person. I'm going to work for free for you, and I'm going to make your Instagram blow up. I'm really good at that. Bring something to them and they're going to need it. But you need a mentor. I think it's really good. So does all this come out of pocket? This is what you were speaking about, like all of these costs, $10,000 a year for my license and all of your advertising and all. Yeah, it all comes out of your pocket. So when you're going to start in real estate, why does over 90% of people fail? It's because they don't have the cash to float. You may need 40 grand a year to live, and then to learn to become a realtor may cost you 10 grand. And it's going to cost me 10 grand a year in my license. And I need to mentor for 6, 8 months, a year for free. And I got to last all this time as I'm building my clientele. Like, if you're going to be successful and you're starting off at zero, you're in big trouble. You need to have some financial backing, living at home, have some friends, have some cash in the bank, have another side hustle at night or something, you know? So one thing that I tell people is there's this saying that says you can become a master at anything after 10,000 hours. Okay, so how long is it going to take you to do 10,000 hours in real estate? Because you could do 10,000 hours in 2 years. You can do 10,000 hours in 8 years. So it's up to you. If you're willing to put in the hours, okay, up front, you're going to become successful a lot faster. But yeah, all of those expenses come out of pocket. Nobody is paying for you. For some of the guys who have mentored with me for a long time, I really know them. I really like them. I appreciate their work. I've grown a relationship with those people. So in that case, I'm willing to pay for their license up front. I'll pay for their schooling. I'm going to pay for, obviously, they're going to have to sign a bunch of contracts with me because I need my money back eventually. So I'll help them out with all of the costs associated in the beginning with their schooling, licensing, insurances, and they're going to pay me back from their first deals. Because if they've been with me that long and I know that they have all of this experience and they're really good and they're watching me and they're coming along with me on the showings and they're learning, I know they're going to be successful if they are going to mirror what I'm doing. So I have confidence in them to lend them that money so that they'll pay me back later. So that's what I would do. Hey, thanks for the compliment that I'm speaking real facts. Yeah, I mean, I've done this for a very long time, you know. I have experience in this, and I just want to help you guys out, you know. Like I was saying, a huge part of our portfolio is we had a guy from Ukraine come in. I had someone from Argentina yesterday. We had people from Japan, from Europe, from the United States. It doesn't really matter where you live. It doesn't matter, because all of these principles are going to be good for you no matter where you go. Those pillars of why investing is happening right now, about printing money and how the immigration is happening and negative interest rates and all of those things, that doesn't matter where you live, what country. It's good for everywhere. Buying your hard assets is good for everywhere. Should you get yourself in real estate? I mean, it's universal, right? And having a big fund and being willing to mentor, it doesn't matter what country I'm in. So I really want you guys to win. This is a good question. Do you think Hamilton condos are a good investment? Phase one construction. Okay, 2 parts. Is buying in Hamilton a good idea? Yes, great idea. Like I was mentioning, that deal I had earlier in the day today, 19.2% it was up. But guess what? When I was looking at 19.2 in this one pocket, I measured it was 400 meters away. 400 meters, okay? It's a 1 minute drive. The next neighborhood over was only up 12% in 2 years. 19% in 1 year, 12% in 2 years. So where would you like to buy? And this is where a really good realtor is going to show you where the very hot properties are in that area. And do you know why? Is because there were all these schools that were nearby and a strip mall with all the restaurants in it. It's not the cool area, it's buying near hard assets. So buying in Hamilton is a great deal. The one that we got today, up 19.2% in the past year. We got the property under contract for $38,000 less than what it's worth. Actually, I have it here. $38,400 less than what it was worth. We signed it up under contract. So got a great deal in Hamilton. But the number 2 part that you're talking about is phase 1 construction. That is tough. If you're going to be buying pre-construction, right now I wouldn't be touching pre-construction. Pre-construction is bad deals going on right now. You have to pay HST on those units, and usually the price per square foot is way above what the price is for a resale property. So higher price, and I have to pay taxes. And when you're getting in on those phases, remember, when you purchase it, you don't get it right away and start paying off your mortgage right away. You have to pay interim occupancy, which is rent. And you have to pay rent for 6 months, a year, rent on your own house that you plan to buy before the builder can move it into a mortgage and finish the phase. You only get to start paying your own mortgage once the phase is complete. So you're going to have to wait for that, pay that interim occupancy, and now you're paying rent on top of it for an entire year. So once you have the higher price and the HST and interim occupancy, there's no way I would be buying that right now. I wouldn't be looking at a pre-construction, no way. But I would definitely be looking in Hamilton. I think that's a very good idea. Does that help out? I hope so. What property is best for running hidden production operations? Wow, illegal Joe Schmo here, man. Can't help you. I have no clue. I really appreciate you guys. I hope that I'm adding value to you. I hope that you're learning lots. I want you to take this, whatever country you're in, and run with it. And please, I want you to be free. The pressure on the middle class to afford things is so huge, and you can do this. I'm telling you, you could do this with a side hustle, with proper money mechanics, building an incorporation, having rent, a good rent portfolio, running for 10 doors. You can do this. And you could do this in a short amount of time. So I really want you to be free, you guys. This is for Adi Koopa. You said, thank you for what I'm doing. Thank you, man. You appreciate my work. I really want the best for you, honestly. There's no way I would ever make money off of anybody in Ukraine, Japan, Argentina, all you guys. I really appreciate you. First month on the platform, 750,000 views across our platforms, 12,000 people in our lives. It's been incredible. So Diane, you said you're in Toronto. That's cool. I hope it's good. If you have any questions for me or the team, you can always contact us here. Ruff Team Realty at gmail.com, or you can contact us right here. Somebody will get back to you. I might be able to get back to you if you want me to, and I can help you out in anything that I can help you. One comment, you're a world famous Kickstar. You were saying inflation is your friend. It can be your friend. So if you are sitting in cash or you are just owning one property, inflation is the worst. It's going to destroy you, because how do you afford, if I only make $100 a year, tomorrow all of a sudden the cost of everything doubles. I'm screwed. I can't afford to live. I can't afford food. But if you're in rental assets and you have your property in properly stocks, no bonds, stocks, and you have it in crypto, and you have it in bullion, and you have rental properties, you're going to make way more money if inflation happens. So it's about being not in cash and being in smart investments, okay? Do I have any tips on how to refinance for a second property? Yeah, I do. Make sure your property is baller. If you only have one property and you're looking to buy a second property, I want you to go in there, sweat equity, spend your evenings redoing the basement. You want to be repainting it, blah, blah, blah. Do everything you can to improve your property. And then you're going to have somebody come and appraise it at a higher price and get the cash equity out of that property and use that to buy your next property. Also, if you're going to refinance at a lower rate, you're going to win twice. So where I would start, get a side hustle going, somewhere you can make extra cash flow, and then also at the same time finishing up your house to get the price up. And then you're going to refinance it from there. That's what I would be doing. You also need to have a really good mortgage broker that you're working with who understands your goals, where you're going to be going with this, because you need him to work with you, right, to get you more money for a lower rate. That's what I would be looking at. You've been a legal assistant for 16 years. This is for Diane. I know how to read people and negotiate and get it done. Baller! You might be one of the best realtors out there. Good for you, man. But I'm really happy that you're breaking free. The only thing for these JOBs, if you have that, you're giving up on your dreams, man. You need to think bigger, and I'm so happy that you're making the leap. Good for you. And you know, legal assistant isn't really going anywhere, right? It's not you're going to become a lawyer tomorrow. You have to become go to school, all the costs. So you're making your own path. So good for you. And you could do this in not too many years, man. If you dedicated 16 years to growing your real estate business and your portfolios and stuff, you would be retired by now, right? So good for you. Thank you guys for all the questions. I hope that I'm getting to you guys. Can I pay your down payment? Funny guy, eh? This guy's hilarious. What if you don't get approved for a pre-construction that you have purchased? You could be in trouble. So you should have had your financing in order up front. It really depends on the builder. I don't know the builder and I haven't read your contract. But normally when you sign a contract for a home, I mean, it's not like a cooling off period. Well, if I can't get my money, like you signed for it. So you got to figure it out somehow. It's possible that the owner of the whole building unit, like the builder, is going to let you off if there's a lot of other people. So we just did a unit in London. The unit had 5 people on a waiting list to purchase the property, and the 5 people that were after had agreed to $25,000 more than the price that we locked in that pre-construction for. So the builder would be happy if you didn't get it because he's going to make more money. So maybe he's just going to let you go. But they have the right to also sue you for any losses, right? So you got to make sure you cover your bases. That's where you always have to have your team, right? Mortgage agent, realtor, and lawyer. And you have to interview a lot of people before you find good ones. So this is to Anonymous Basha. You sent me some gifts. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much, guys. I've really warmed up my heart a little bit because, of course, there's always trolls on here. But at the end of the day, I really want the best for you. And we get a lot of flack online that all realtors are bad. And, but some people actually want the best for you. And so I want all of you to take this. If none of you ever bought a house, I feel good helping out people. So I hope that you do very, very well. We just want to create good value to you. So please subscribe to our channel and let your friends know. And hopefully you can learn some cool stuff from this and take it and run with it. So I would be careful if you can't get any other purchasing. So there I'd be going to my trusted mortgage broker and figuring out a way how to get cash so I don't get sued. That's what I would be doing. What do I think about Bradford and what's happening over there? I'd be buying in Bradford. We have been buying in Bradford. But again, it's not as easy as saying, I only want to buy in Bradford. I only want to buy in Aurelia. I only want to buy in an area. It doesn't work like that. It's down to the individual deal, okay? Does that deal make sense? So it's actually only if you want to go to school for 4 years and learn about economics, you know what it comes down to? Opportunity cost. So am I going to buy the house on that side of the road or this side of the road? Okay, so if I buy on that side of the road, I can make $1,000 a month. If I buy on this side of the road, I'm going to make $300 a month. So which one do you want? And actually, it's as simple as that. So why we don't buy new construction in Bradford right now is you're going to make more money if you buy the resale property. So I would be buying the resale property. And that's in like 95% of the cases. But if you want to contact us, you can DM us and we'll look at your deals and we'll be able to tell you, because we have $30,000 in software that we're running right now just to be able to figure out the prices on a property. I have a full-time statistician that works on staff that is just for this, to price properties. It's very hard. So I'm trying to tell you guys how to do it, but this rule, what I'm saying, usually it's always resale properties, not pre-construction right now. That's where you're going to make your money. Where I have seen it to buy pre-construction is if you're maxed out and you can't buy any other properties. Sometimes no one will lend you any more money. Sometimes I've seen them where the builders will allow you to buy one more pre-construction property, and then maybe it's okay. But right now, I wouldn't be doing that. So thank you for all the gifts, guys. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting me. 750,000 people, man, in the first month. So I'm pretty stoked about that. 12,000 people on our lives this week, which is phenomenal. Should you sell your house first or look and then look to buy? Or should you find a house first and then sell? Okay, good question. So this is forever, right? This really comes down to your personal taste. Should you sell or buy first? So in Toronto, it depends. Are you thinking about buying an investment property? Then you're not going to sell your property. You should only be looking at buying. If you're wanting to move into a home that's going to be your forever home, a home that's going to be yours, and you don't care about the cost or location or whatever, then I would like make sure that you're going to buy the perfect property for yourself. You're going to buy first, and then sell your property later. So what are you going to be looking for? If it was me and I was just kind of starting off my first couple of years, I would be looking at the property that you're in right now. If it was like, say, in Mississauga, 3-bedroom home in a high value inner suburbs area, I'll be looking to sell that and buy 2 smaller units that have a huge chance of rebounding after COVID. And then in those smaller units, I would be putting multiple units, like in the basement, 1 or 2 units in the basement to have more cash flow coming in the race to 10 doors. You want 10 doors before you can actually start breathing a little bit. But you can get 10 doors in like 18 months, 2 years max. You'll have your 10 doors to rent out. Remember, if you have one unit upstairs and a unit downstairs, that's 2 doors. So you can get there really, really quick. So hopefully, Motivation Station, if you ever want to call me for a one-on-one, it's free consultations. I don't charge you anything. I'm happy to give you some time and just walk through your individual situation. If you're in Toronto, we can actually represent you if you would like. We have people all over the Greater Toronto area, or if you just want to deal with me, you can contact me as well. Really appreciate all your gifts. Thank you very much, guys. I'm happy to help you out. You're saying thank you for the info. Nikki, yeah, you said, should I have my own show? Yeah, I know I have some guys that work over at City TV that we've dealt with in the past, and they were pitching that to us. And you know what, maybe in a few years to come. I mean, this is just my first month, so I'm really happy how much demand that we've had in first month. It's been overwhelming, the amount of people that have questions, but don't make that deter you. If you have any questions, I stay up sometimes till 2, 3 in the morning answering everybody. If they have questions specifically about real estate and specifically in Toronto, I'll be happy to help you out. Thank you for the compliments. This is to Diane. You said you'd get my coffee and work for free when you're done your course. Well, I'd be happy to talk to you. Give us a call. You can DM me, talk to me, and let's see what we can do to get you on your feet. You know, I do have one guy that is starting with us next week, and he's brand new to real estate. Generally, we only hire people who have experience in real estate, but this guy, he blew us out of the water. He was absolutely phenomenal. So he was willing to come and work for free as well, and he's one of the best guys I've ever seen. So he's starting next week. Stay tuned. I'll let you know how he's doing, but he's phenomenal. So I would love to have a coffee with you and have a chat, and let's have a Zoom call one day. Happy to work with you if you ever want, and if you ever want to come work with us, the door is always open. We're always hiring, so it doesn't really matter the position. We hired somebody last week. We hired 2 more this week, so we're always hiring. It's good. Addy Koopa, you're saying, I think you've been here before, Addy. I recognize your name. You said, what is a good strategy to win with a bidding war? So, but thanks, first of all, for coming by, and thank you guys for supporting us. What is the best strategy for a bidding war? So we use bully bids a lot in advance. So bully bids is the legal right that you have. So when there's an auction, they'll say, we want the auction to happen in a week, but you have a legal right to force your hand and to make sure that your offer gets in their hand on day 2 and say, I don't want to wait 10 days. You have that right. So we use that to our advantage, and you need a good realtor to be able to price the property properly, find out where a very good aggressive offer is, and put that offer in where it can get accepted. Like we have bully bids done that way. You also have to know the game of the auction that day. So when you go into a bidding war or an offer date in Canada and the United States, I've seen some happen in Europe, but not as much as Canada and the States, you need to know the rules. So the rules are 1 round, 2 round, or 3 round when it comes to them. So when it's a 1 round auction, you only have 1 shot. You give your best offer and the owner will pick the best. That's it. But sometimes realtors will say it's a 2 round. So they'll look at all the offers. They'll have 10 offers. They'll say 5 are gone. They'll call these 5 people back and say, you all have another opportunity to make it a little bit sweeter, make it a little bit better, add another 10 grand to it or something. And then you have an opportunity to put in a second offer. Sometimes it even goes 3 rounds where they'll call you again and make you bump the offer again. But what happens if you only had 1 offer and you didn't know? So many times, hundreds of times, the people will be offering 700,000 and then they lose. And they find out a week later that it sold for 710,000. But at that point they said, oh, I would have paid that extra $10,000. Well, you should have put that on your offer because you should have known that it was a one-round auction. So you have to make sure how many rounds the auction is, and this is going to depend on how good your realtor is to get this information and be able to play that and figure that part out and know your pricing. Remember what I always tell you, the number one skill that you need to develop is how to price properties. Number one skill. Okay, so that's what I would be looking at. How much can you increase your offer based on participants? You will never know how much they're offering. It's illegal for this auction. It's like a blind auction. You don't know what they're offering as far as pricing, but what you do know is how many offers, and that will give you a good clue. If you know there's just one offer, it's not going to be that aggressive. But if I know there's 30 offers, I know we're going to get blown out of the water, right? And then the price is going to go into the stratosphere, and I want you to walk away, and it's not going to be worth it. Thank you very much for this. This is to some cool guys. Thanks for all you've learned. You learn more than in an hour than you have in 10 years. Thanks for sticking around for an hour, buddy. Really appreciate that. That's to Rough Cut Chainsaw Carvings. This dude's a cool dude. I've seen some of his work. If you guys ever want to see some really cool chainsaw art, go on to this. It's Rough Cut Chainsaw Carvings. It's phenomenal. I've seen a lot of his work, and I think you should go check him out. You guys, thanks for all of this. What is the time here in Toronto? Here in Toronto, it's 8:40 at night. Man, this has been long. I thought I'd be on here for an hour, but we're willing to go longer if there's more questions. So lots of stuff. Sorry, you're saying, why is he phenomenal? What makes him so great? I don't know who you're speaking to. I'm sorry, man. What is the best tips into marketing? Oh my God, I've been doing this for a decade. I really don't know. We have done online marketing, Google stuff. We've promoted our ads. But remember, for so many years, we were strictly a referral business. So we were doing very well with that. We spent, instead of spending money on marketing, I spent it on it spoiling my customers, having more support team to call them all the time, to be on top of things, to get your homes for less money, having people on the phones, finding more clients. We would buy really nice gifts for all of our people. We spent our money on our people, not on advertising. And then the word of mouth is so strong that they gave us their brothers, their sisters, their parents, their friends all were calling us. So that's how we did it in the beginning. But only in the past year have we started to do some other stuff. I don't really have any suggestions for you because we do everything. We're doing advertising, we're doing mail outs, we do newsletters, and we have social media managers that we've just hired because in the past month, 750,000 views, 12,000 different people watched our lives. I mean, we can't handle it all. So we've been hiring people, but I mean, do everything. Do everything and just don't stop. And then you're going to be doing very, very well. I'm not a social media manager or a marketer per se. I just do everything. You know, everyone is always looking for strategies, but everyone can be really good at any strategy that they choose. I think it's more about hustling. If you want what the majority of people want, like say that you want more houses and everyone can't get more, you have to be willing to do what they're not willing to do, which is work more hours. And I will outwork anybody. I'll work every evening, weekend, night, holiday, doesn't matter, because outworking them is the most important thing. What are my thoughts on e-commerce and drop shipping? I've never really been in on that, man. I don't do any of that. I know people who do it and are very successful, but I know a ton of people who do it and fail, so I really don't know. This is to Tiger. Good to see you again. Thanks for coming by and supporting us. 12,000 people in our first week. I hope that you guys are learning. But having people that are coming back often is showing that we can help you and we can impart value, and you can take this and do very well. You want to know about the guy who I hired this week? Well, he's doing pretty good. I mean, it's his first week, right? So he's putting out about 30% of what I expect of him, but he knows that too. But we have to give him time to grow into his role, right? He can't be producing 100% as of week one. I have really good hopes with him. Jefferson, he's a really cool guy. If you list a house and hold offers and don't like the price, can you refuse the offers and don't sell? Absolutely. The owner is the king of your kingdom, okay? So you want to give me a crazy story? Out in Scarborough, we had a home. It was worth about 1.4 million and they listed it for $1 million, okay? They had 300 people come look at the home. During COVID, 300 people went and looked at that home in 3 days and they put in 31 offers. I've talked about this before. 31 offers, and guess what? They refused all of them. All 31 offers they refused, and they didn't sell the house. So you are like King Tut sitting on your throne. If you don't like it, you don't have to sell it. You have all the power. Red Hood, you're saying don't pay for advertisements, just use TikTok? Cool. I'm glad. I mean, TikTok is doing well, but we're on a lot of other channels too. We're trying to put it everywhere. And if you were in the GTA, you would call me. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So yeah, if anyone is looking for homes, I mean, that's what we do. We're on Bay Street downtown, but we operate in the entire Greater Toronto area, up to Barrie, out to Oshawa, all the way out to Hamilton is our main area. But we do go outside of that when we're looking at smaller towns, down in London and Guelph and Bowmanville and so forth. We do go out to those ways when we have clients that we've been working with for a long time and have trust issues with a lot of the other people, you know, because we spend our whole time here, our whole life, trying to develop really good relationships with our clients so that their kids and their family and their friends and their grandparents always will come to us. So best place to buy a house in the GTA for broke students. That's like a one-on-one call, man. I got to find out a little bit about you. If you want to call us, just DM me if you want. You can reach me at ruffteamrealty@gmail.com if you want, or link me right through here, message me, and I'll get back to you. I have to know a little bit about what you like. Where are you working? Where is your school? What are your goals for your future? Do you need to have a house where you're going to be married, have kids? Do you want to buy? Are you single? We want to know what your finances are like. You know, there's a big conversation that we have. What is your risk tolerance? Do you want to have a property that can really appreciate? Do you want a cash flowing property? You see, there's a lot of questions to go through, right? But if you ever want a one-on-one with me, I'm more than happy to go over it with you. And talk you through it. Right now, the majority of the students who are looking for properties are buying 1-bedroom and 1 den condos that are down 25% this year. Those condos are down huge. So you're going to be looking at those ones, getting the best deal that you can for yourself, and then leveraging all of the money that you're going to make as the country rebounds because of the vaccines. Take all that equity out and go and buying your first investment property. And that's kind of the journey. What we do with you is we're on that road with you forever, because we're kind of like that one-stop shop, and that's what I want you to have no matter where you are. I want you to have a good realtor, trust buddy, you know. I go to dinner with a lot of my clients, most of my clients, because we're friends now over all the years. Have a really good realtor, good mortgage broker, good contractor, good lawyer, and everyone's working together. So we kind of help you along that road. You can use all of our guys if you want. If not, it's okay. And we help you get your first property, your income properties, on the race to 10 doors. We need you to get to 10 doors, not 10 properties, but 10 rental units, so that if one person doesn't pay, the other 9 are still paying, and you're going to be okay. Would you recommend an agent becoming a broker? Not necessarily, no. I wouldn't even be looking into it right away, Diane. I would firstly be looking at just becoming and being really good as an agent. Becoming a broker is if you you have more education, more costs, opening a corporation, opening up your own name. It's a lot of money. So, I mean, I wouldn't even be looking at that for a lot of years until you've really set yourself up as an agent. That's what I would be doing. Will you have more listings coming up in January? Why is inventory right low now in the GTA? Yeah, we always have listings coming up. But one thing that, remember I was mentioning for you to always talk to, your really good realtor should be showing you properties that are not on the market. So when I was looking 2 days ago on our offline properties in the GTA, Greater Toronto area, we had 1,000 properties that were not on the market. 1,000 homes that were not anywhere online that you cannot find. So we have properties like bankruptcies and distress sales and company-owned properties and coming soons, divorced couple that we just had, things that are coming up that we don't put online. We give it to our clients right away. So if you have a good realtor He's going to have properties for you that you're not going to find anywhere else. So it's going to get you more choice. So that's what I mean by finding a really good realtor who does this a lot. And we're only talking about the top couple percent of realtors in any given city, no matter where you are. But typically always properties get less in December, January, February. So the market comes down and you'll save about 1%. 1%, right? So it's nothing really special. You don't wait all year to save that 1% around Christmas, but we love putting offers in on Christmas Day, on New Year's Eve, because if somebody's willing to accept an offer on Christmas Eve, you know, they really need to sell it, right? So then it could be a good deal. But you're going to see less inventory for sure, but you also have less buyers. You don't have as much competition. But a lot of people make that mistake and they're like, I'm going to wait till April. And then the market is on fire. There's double the homes on the market, but now there's triple the buyers. So you actually shot yourself in the foot because there's so much more competition. Does that help? Does that make any sense, Addie? I hope it does. In today's market, prices are high, and 90% of single properties hardly cover expenses, don't cash flow. I know, guys, but so we're talking about this, about everyone wants to talk about cash flow, but it's not always cash flow. It can be appreciation. So that property that is in Hamilton that we keep talking about, that we just did just before we got on the call, it made 19.2% this year in property appreciation. So if you're going to make $150,000 on property appreciation, you're not going to have a cash flowing property. This property had to pay, I think, $100 a month out of the owner's pocket. He had to pay $100 a month to supplement it. But he was making over $10,000 a month in property appreciation. So are you really going to complain, oh, I had to pay $100 out of my pocket when I made 10 grand? So then that is how you have to look at it. It's a marriage between the two of property appreciation and cash flow. So if you have huge property appreciation, you're not going to have good cash flow. If you have huge cash flow, like in a small town in Cornwall, you're going to have hardly any appreciation of the property. You're going to have it all in your cash flow. So generally speaking, very generally, if you're hitting 13%, you're in good. You're doing well. So the marriage between appreciation of the property and cash flow should be about 13%, ballpark. Does that make any sense? And that's after condo fees or maintenance and after taxes. Okay? 13%. But you know, every time I've done this live, everybody's always asking for the quick fix, the quick answer, but it's not like that. Should I buy in this city or this city? It's not that easy. Should I be buying a new house or an old house, or a detach or a condo? It's not that easy, right? We have to look at the individual deals, and that's what I have to stress on you. The number one skill you got to learn is pricing. These questions about should I buy detach or semi, it's not that easy. If you have the skills in order to price these properties, bang, 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 you'll know when you have a good deal, and you'll be all over it before all the other guys. That is what you got to be looking at. How do I individually find that, okay? So that's what I want you to do, is practice how to price your properties. I made a YouTube video about it that I'm going to be putting up about how to price properties. I think that's what you should be looking at the most, okay? So focus on the deal, on the individual deal, and you're looking for 13% after taxes and fees, okay? As a marriage between appreciation and the monthly money coming in. How do you find that top realtor? I'd be looking online at who's doing the majority of the advertising. Those guys are usually big. Also, in Toronto, you know, you have certain houses that have like the Real Estate Council of Ontario or the Ontario Real Estate Association, or you have other ones like in different cities that will have an association that you can go type in and see how long they've been in the market, how many homes that they've sold. So you'd want to go with somebody that you like, right? That's how to find a whole bunch of names, but then you got to start interviewing. Talk to them. How many off-market properties do you have? How many bankruptcies homes? How do you find deals for me? What will you be doing for me, right? And listen, a realtor is free. So you should be using them and interview them and find out what they can do for you, right? I would be interviewing them, and that guy who's going to be able to help you, hold your hand, has a network for you to use. I have a very good lawyer, a very good mortgage broker. I have accountants. I have, like, it's a one-stop shop. Find somebody who has that and has a lot of off-market properties. You're going to do very well. That's what I would be doing. Do I have off-market properties in South Etobicoke? Yes, I do. So we have properties that are down there and they come and go, right? It's not like they appear. So our off-market properties are only ever on the exclusive list for 10 days. So if I don't sell it in 10 to 12 days on our private network, then I go and I give it out to the public. But we're working with about 1,000, I think it was 400. It floats between 1,200 and 1,500 registered buyers with us. And so those people have already been working with us for a time and they're looking for off-market properties too. So when we have an off-market property, we will give it to our clients first for those first 10 to 12 days to make up their mind. If they buy it, then no one will ever know about it. It doesn't go on the market. And there's no like tracks about it on realtor.ca or on Zillow or whatever. We'll take care of it off the market. But if we actually do need to put it on the market, then you will see it. So Adi Koopa, so yeah, you're referring to Detach homes. I don't remember off the top of my head, but last time I checked, yeah, we have several over there. You found a condo beside Kipling Station, 1,050 square foot, 29th floor, 700 grand. Is it a good deal? 2+1 unit. That sounds about right. I would have said around 650 off the top of my head, but I haven't seen what the quality is on the inside and what direction it's facing. So you're actually in our market. If you ever want a free consultation, contact us, DM us here, email us, go to our website, ruffteamrealty.com. Reach out to us any way you want, and we can give you a free consultation about that. Does that help? 15 Viking Lane. Yeah, I know that building. I've been in there. Faces Lake, 2 balconies. I mean, it sounds good. Off the top of my head, I would have said 650. But it really depends. If I saw all the pictures and the videos of the inside, seeing that it was really, really beautiful. If it is really beautiful, it might be able to push that. Also, in some of those units, they have 2 lockers and 2 parking. So depending on it, parking spot may be worth $20,000 in that building. And in the lockers could be worth around 10 grand. Some of them are 5 grand if they're the smaller units. So it really depends. So it sounds close, but I would have to look at the individual deal. That's what I would have to do. Guys, we really appreciate everybody coming by. Remember, contact us anytime on any one of our social platforms. Remember, I want you to build a team and I want you to make really good money, okay? 750,000 people came this week, this month on our channels, 12,000 on our lives. Please subscribe to us, follow us, and ask us questions. Ask us any questions, even between the lives, and we're going to help get back to you. Remember, the reasons why you should be investing is inflation is going to really hurt you if you're not in assets, right? You need to be in some kind of assets, and bullion, crypto, good stocks, and essentially properties, because properties is the only place where you can leverage yourself, and the bank will lend you 4-to-1. You really need to be doing that. And if you go look at the number of people who are successful, billionaires, millionaires, it's like 90% of them made their money through real estate. So you should be really getting into that. Remember the reasons why: negative interest rate, 2 million people coming, the government getting into housing and co-purchasing homes, money printing is huge. So you got to find your team. Good realtor, good mortgage agent, good construction guy, good lawyer, good accountant. Start interviewing people and ask them what they can do for you. A lot of them are free. My services are free whenever you're looking for a property. So I'd love for you to come on by and contact us, and we're more than willing to help you in any way. So we love you. Thank you so much. We hope that you learn. Please subscribe and follow us and tell your friends about us. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week.